Hello everyone. Are we online? Let us know if you hear us.
Yeah, we'll wait a few moments for everyone to find us because we know a couple of you have probably just finished the workshop with Briar.
I'm just going to grab my phone. Do you know where my phone is? Right here.
Yeah, we're okay, we're all good. Yeah, this morning, so we had an amazing chat with Briar this morning, who is one of our Ayurvedic experts. So I hope you all enjoyed that. And now we're all here to talk about self-sabotage. But
what a meaty topic. I'm just checking, does it get our live stream up on this phone here so we can see all of your comments, ladies? Oh, yeah.
Put it down.
I have a habit of doing that, don't I? I have a habit of destroying technology.
On our microphone, there's a little Wi-Fi bit, and it has to connect to the other bit, and Janine just likes to hold it. So then it just doesn't get through.
I know. Oh no. How do I get the thingy? It hasn't come up as live. Okay.
Oh, to see the
just
questions.
to see the questions.
All right. I'll do this for you.
Okay. Well, ladies, what a morning. Welcome. And we're so pleased you're here to our last mini escape of 2020. Can you believe we're even saying that?
I don't even want to think about the fact that we're in December.
Next week will be December. It's crazy, isn't it? Oh, you got us. Oh, fantastic. Oh, there we are.
Everyone. Hi, Victoria,
oh, good.
Lucy,
wonderful.
The whole gang is here.
Hi, Victoria. How are you? Nice to see you. Do we need to send a join request? No.
No, because then you're going to join yourself and then you'll be a photo of you.
Really? Oh, no. Technology.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Our strongest point.
Yes.
But we are getting better with it, so we're actually very impressed. I'm proud that the fact that we've been doing this for 9 months now.
Oh, my gosh. I remember back in March, wasn't it, when we decided to run a virtual retreat when the world kind of came to a halt. And everything just kind of went a little bit pear-shaped, wasn't it? We're like, well, let's do what we love doing and which we know is of great service to women, but let's start doing it online. So when did we run that first retreat? It was right at the start of April.
April. It would have been April, and then we run another one in
June.
And then another one I think we did in July.
Yeah.
We had two really close to each other.
Yeah.
And now this is our last one, November/December.
My goodness. And the reason that we decided to do this, ladies, is we love doing it, we love connecting, and we love bringing communities together in wellness. But equally, we're very conscious of the fact that so many women are still feeling feelings of overwhelm, anxiety, pressure, stress. Of course, there's still so many unknowns and uncertainty. So we just felt the calling to again put on something like this that would just help to shapeshift some of those feelings and spread some positivity and joy, because we always have a choice. We have a choice to, environment's everything, isn't it? And when we're hearing so much in the media or around people that maybe are worrying a lot about things, it can really get to us. And so we have a choice whether we focus on what we can control, which is all of this sort of stuff, isn't it? All of the tools that we have on hand and the techniques that we have on hand, or whether we choose to not do that and buy into even more of the fear and the overwhelm.
Yes,
so this is your kind of escape. This is your mini escape for this entire weekend, and we've got such a great lineup. We can't wait to share it with you. So we'll just wait for a few more people to hop on. Yeah. Please let us know when you're on and let us know what country you're from. Hi Harriet, how are you? Good to see you joining from England. That's Harriet, awesome. It's 1 a.m. there.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, awesome. Hi, Kathy. Hi from Singapore. Nice to see you. Oh, thanks, Harriet. Hi, Abigail. How are you? Hi from Tasmania. Hi, Lynn. Nice to see you too. Wonderful.
I'm just going to pin us to the top so that it's easier to find, because I found that the new Facebook on the computers is so difficult to find anything.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
With Facebook at the moment.
I'm very unhappy as well.
We're not happy with your Facebook, just so you know. But we are right here, and look, there we are.
There we are.
We're here.
Oh, great, we're
here. I've pinned us to the top, so everyone should be able to find us nice and easily now. We'll be right at the top of your computer screens and your phone screens. There we go.
And ladies, if you can just give this video a like, what it does is it pushes us up the page as well in people's newsfeed. So anyone that's in the group will be able to see it more. We just figured that one out. Awesome. So Make sure you like the video now, and more people will see it and will join us.
Still learning over 9 months. We still learn something new every single time we come on here.
And Facebook keeps us on our toes, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely gets the heart going.
So in today's workshop, ladies, we're so excited about this one. This is one that is a real biggie. I didn't realise, I mean, we were surprised, weren't we, in terms of it being such a popular topic.
Yes, it is such a popular topic. And I think it's also a topic that we all have. We all feel this. This is self-sabotage. Yes. We are all, I'm not going to say guilty, because that's another thing that we all do a lot, is put guilt upon ourselves. We're all people who tend to self-sabotage. It's something that we all just tend to do.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we make ourselves feel so incredibly small when we're all incredible beings, you know? So.
Absolutely. Well, we'll discover this in the workshop today. So ladies, by the end of the workshop, the things that we're going to cover is exactly to Frankie's point, why do we self-sabotage? What is self-sabotage? You know, we'll go through a definition and lots of examples. What are the classic signs that you're self-sabotaging? Because these things that we can do on a conscious level, like I know I should go to bed because I want to get up early and do my 5 a.m. club, but Netflix is just so good at the moment, so I'm going to stay up later and do that. But there's also unconscious self-sabotage, so we're going to go through that as well, because if something's unconscious, subconscious, then how can we change it? So we're going to step you through that, looking at what self-sabotage is, why we self-sabotage, areas that you might be able to identify with where you might be self-sabotaging, and then what are some things you can do to address that. And then Frankie's going to lead us through a beautiful meditation to really help with that too. Do you want to talk a little bit about that meditation?
Yes, so this meditation is going to be called Releasing Self-Sabotage. So it's all about, we'll start off by feeling into the last time or the times that we most commonly self-sabotage. So when we do these kind of visualization or emotional feels into our past, it brings up some things that you might not even have thought. So once we tune in, once we go into that deep space within, and we're right at the atom, which is the soul.
Atom.
Atom, yeah.
Like an atom.
I know.
But an atom.
Atom. When we go really deep into that space, things come up that we weren't even sure about. And then it's that like aha moment, like, this is why I do this. So we'll be tapping into that a little bit, not too deeply, but we'll be tapping into those feelings of times when we self-sabotage, and we'll be cutting it off right at the root.
Oh, I like that.
Each time that self-sabotage comes in, we're like, I got you, you know?
Great. So bringing more conscious awareness.
Yeah, of what that click is, what that thing is. Because sometimes you'll be, you know, having the best day, feeling that you're incredible, and a trigger will come, and you might not even be consciously aware of what that trigger is. It could even be like a smell, or you see something, or you feel something, or someone says something, and you're suddenly like, oh yeah, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I can't do this. Yeah. So that's what we'll be doing in the meditation today.
Oh, goody. Yeah. Oh, I like the sound of that.
I know.
Wow, without further ado, should we jump into it?
Yeah, let's do
Should we
this.
Check out a few more of the comments from our beautiful ladies?
Well, I love that Sandy says, Janine, you are looking gorgeous and radiant
today.
Oh,
thank you.
Make sure that microphone is,
It's on top of the caftan, not underneath it. It likes to sneak under my caftan, that naughty microphone.
I'll try and remain to be loud, because I've been taught, especially during the meditation, maybe we'll swip her over.
We can pop it up here.
I've done that before, and then I kept on doing this, and it was like, it's awful. So I think on you is better.
Okay, no worries. Hi Sandy, lovely to have you joining from New Zealand. Hi Anne-Marie, how are you? How's beautiful Bay of Plenty? The patriarchal system, indeed. Hey Victoria. Hi Shay, hi from sunny Brisbane. Beautiful to have you ladies. Hi Kathleen, hi over in Canada. Lovely to have a Canadian joining us at the moment. Hi Monique, how are you? Oh, thank you Harriet. Thank you for saying I look radiant.
She does.
I've been doing a 2-month cleanse at 2 months. 2-month huge detox, a medical detox here in Bali, which has been lots of fun. But I won't go into that today.
You look radiant and beautiful, so it's
good lighting, good lighting. All right, ladies. Let's do this. Let's get in and go through it. I've just got my presentation here that I'm going to be running through, ladies. If anyone would like a copy afterwards, let me know and I can send it through to you because it's all nice and pretty. But we'd like to do these things on Facebook Live versus Zoom because then people can jump in when they like and it's easier to see it. But we just can't show the presentation, but we will talk to it.
And we'll also be doing some handouts afterwards as well, right? So
absolutely.
I'll be adding in some handouts in the comments, or actually I'll even put them in the description. So after this live, I'll add those in as well, so you get some handouts as well.
So helpful.
I know.
All right, ladies. Well, listen, as Frankie was saying, it's such a popular topic. When we asked you in the escape behavior method and we sort of put all the different categories that we could talk about over this 2-day weekend, the number one topic came back and it was tied between gut health and self-sabotage. So it's so interesting. There's obviously an awakening and an awareness around the fact that we all do this, as Frankie said, which is so true. And there's so much written about, goals, how to get your goals and to go after your goals. But the problem doesn't lie there. The problem lies in the fact that we're the ones that get in our way of actually reaching our goals. We don't want that to happen. So that's what we're going to be going through because we all stand in our own way. Our biggest issues, when we look at what prevents us from leading the life that's destined to us is often ourself. I talk to so many women that are looking at starting businesses or making new changes in their life. And often the biggest challenge they have is giving themselves permission just to go for it, just to back themselves. So if we think about it from that perspective, we're almost our own worst enemy. And I say that in a kind and a gentle way. And going back to what Frankie, her advice at the start of this, be gentle and kind on yourself as we go through this process because it's something we all have within us and we'll start to discover through this presentation why that actually is. Because when we've got an awareness of something, right, we shine the light on something, it can no longer hide from us. It can no longer be that little voice that we're not aware of or that trigger, like Frankie was saying, that suddenly takes us off path and makes us fall off that wagon. When we shine a light on something, it's visible. And when something's visible, we can say, hey, we can see you. And when we can see something, we can change it. So let's shine a light on this topic today. And let's make this interactive as well, ladies. Wherever your comfort levels are, we'd love to hear from you as we go along with your perspective on things too.
Yeah, and remember, it is a deep subject. So it's so important as well when you do realize what your self-sabotage is or what your trigger is to not judge yourself, to just see it. So it's such a hard thing to be non-judgmental and be like, why did I think like that? Why am I like this? You're human. You're a beautiful human being. We all do it. So just don't judge yourself. Be kind through this process because it's a deep subject and we're going to be going through it together because I know I have a lot of things that I self-sabotage about. Janine has them too. Lucy has them too. We all have them. Yeah, don't see us here sitting on this side of the camera thinking they've got everything. We're all in the same boat.
We're all works in progress. And doesn't that make life interesting?
Makes it so much better.
I wouldn't want to be like this polished, perfect stone.
No.
What would you work on then?
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be boring.
Okay, I'm done.
Now what? Yeah, now what? So ladies, I just want to start off with one of my favorite quotes, which really summarizes this really well. I'm the greatest obstacles to my greatest dreams. So it just kind of, that categorizes what self-sabotage is so well. It's by a guy called Craig Lunsborough. Has anyone heard of that before? Comment below if you have, but I just thought that was a great quote to start with because it kind of encapsulates what self-sabotage is, us standing in our own way. And we want to learn through this workshop how to get that out of our own way so we can reach our goals with ease and we're not working against this resistance all the time. So what is self-sabotage? It's that counterproductive behavior that stops us from reaching our goal. We work against ourselves, it undermines our efforts. It brings relief from the pressure of success and happiness and intimacy because sometimes at some level we're uncomfortable with that. And we'll go on to talk about that more because I find that quite fascinating. It's super common, and as I mentioned before, it can be conscious or unconscious. So a conscious self-sabotage behavior would be, okay, I know that I should get up early, as I mentioned before, to do the 5 a.m. club and do my fitness and my meditation. but I sat up all night watching Netflix because I felt stressed from work and had a stressful day. So it's kind of like this domino effect, and you realize you're doing it at the time, but you do it anyway. You're just like, stuff it, I'm going to do it. I know, but I'm going to do it anyway. And someone might even remind you of a husband, like mine does sometimes. Hey, come on, it's 8 p.m. We have our, as you know, all our internet shuts off at 8 p.m. because of my dear husband. And yeah, so he reminds me sometimes and keeps in line. So that's an expression of conscious self-sabotage behaviour. Unconscious would be, really something that you're unaware of. So it would be something like, for example, a really common one of people in the workplace that are afraid of failure. So they don't go for those job promotions. They purposely sabotage themselves unknowingly by always arriving late. Because they know if they're always arriving late, they're not going to be seen for a promotion. They're going to stay in that security and safety of their job. And so by arriving late never puts them in an uncomfortable position for, a bigger job than what they believe they're worth. So that's something that many people can go their whole lives and just not believe about themselves or not understand. But it makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about what that fear is that's driving it. So everything is driven by a belief we have or an identity that we assume about ourselves. But more on that later. I just wanted to use that as an example to say, hey, it could be conscious or it could be unconscious.
Yeah. So do more people do self-sabotage more than others? Because I find like some people are more aware of it and then others have no idea they're doing it. So are there people who know they're doing it, not doing it? Who does it more often?
Yeah, no, good question. And you're dead right. Some people do it on a real minor level. So it might be something like, oh, I didn't go to the gym that day because I traded off doing something else, and that's okay. Whereas other people might have more of a chronic association with it than just one area in our life, because typically we will have a specific area in our life where we sabotage because we have a fear in that, or we have a belief about ourselves that keeps us small and keeps us on this sort of routine of, setting ourselves up for failure. So when you're more on the chronic end of the spectrum, that's where you've got those limiting beliefs across multiple areas. Typical areas will be relationships, fear of intimacy, fear of connection, fear of being loved and the worthiness of being loved. It could be in work. I just want to keep myself small because imagine if I show my true colours and my true strengths, I might then be promoted, and then, oh my gosh, then what would happen? I really want to start that, new company. But what if I fail at it? So, I'm just going to retreat and stay in the known because that's my safe harbour and I'm comfortable with that. Or it can be on a physical perspective or in the health realm. So those are sort of the typical areas that it can show up in, and we'll go into like some of those classic examples soon. And so someone can have an issue just in a minor way with one area, or for some people it can be all areas. To figure out where you might be self-sabotaging, ask yourself that question: where are those areas where I constantly set myself goals but I don't manage to reach them? It's maybe, thinking about it through the lens of New Year's resolutions. Who does New Year's resolutions? Comment below if you set those up. I'm really interested to know, actually. Do you set New Year's resolutions for yourself? Or are you someone that does it more on a regular basis, or maybe you do it during the year? Because the key to understanding, or one of the first signs of understanding if you self-sabotage, it will be those goals that you set yourself that you never end up reaching. So you'll say, yeah, I'm going to go after, this target. I'm going to meet the man of my dreams this year because I want to meet the absolute love of my life. And then you get to the next New Year's and you're like, oh, where is he? What's going on? And this plays out year after year after year, and you don't realize that perhaps you're sabotaging your efforts because you're not putting yourself out there, or you're going on a few dates and then you're like picking a fight or showing a side of you that's not that desirable 1 month in when everything's going great because it feels too good to be true. So you want to retreat back to that safe harbor of being single, because then at least you can control that. So start having those sorts of questions. Journal it down around where is an area in my life that I don't seem to meet the goals that I set for myself. Because either the goal's just a crazy BHAG that's just really out there, that could be one of the reasons. More often than not, it's because you're sabotaging your efforts to get there. And so it's like I wrote a blog on it recently, and I found this great little photo of a guy pushing a boulder up a hill. It's like that. We want to get rid of that boulder so we can reach the top of the hill with ease. But when we don't reach those goals repeatedly, ones that we set for themselves, it's often because of self-sabotage.
So Victoria has written, I used to, but now I live one day at a time. Very good, Victoria.
I like that. Nice.
Nat has written, I'm always goal setting, but usually only things I can do, I can achieve. That's such a good point. Yeah. Because sometimes, as Janine was saying, we do overachieve. Like, let's say I'm going to go to the gym every day this year. Imagine saying that at New Year's, and then you get sick, or you
have a few drinks on New Year's Eve and miss day one.
Yeah, day one's done, and then you're like, oh, I'll start tomorrow. Or like, I'm gonna be super healthy this year and not eat any chocolate. Yeah. You know, we can't do that because we have cacao ceremony tomorrow.
Exactly, we don't want that.
So yeah, I agree with you, Nat. They need to be achievable.
Yeah.
Kathy's put, I do, and I have even written them down, but don't follow through with many of them. Yeah. We all do that.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Sometimes we just set ourselves too many, and then it becomes overwhelming, and you think, when something becomes overwhelming, then we kind of are led by guilt and shame of not achieving it. You know, Brené Brown talks about this a lot. And that stops us from, continuing on our path to success. So having too many goals definitely doesn't work.
I love Abigail's. So Abigail, you've written, this year I am open to a beautiful, healthy relationship and want to meet the man of my dreams. I am somehow self-sabotaging in this area of my life.
Well, that's great to know that, Abigail. And I think just as we approach, and why we were so keen on doing this workshop now, Frankie, was because we're coming into a new year, we're coming into a new chapter. And so we can start, once we crack this, then we set our goals for the next year. We're going to reach them with ease. You're going to reach that goal once you understand what's behind the fear that's stopping you from meeting that man of your dreams. Because he's out there. Let me tell you, I was a big self-saboteur with relationships before I met my man of my dreams. And it took me until 41 to get over myself so I could actually do that. But more on that later anyway. He's not in the room. He was, but he's not at the moment. What did he say? Okay. So
what are the classic self-sabotage behaviours?
Yeah.
How can you catch them?
How can you catch them? Well, there's so many different ways that they can manifest, but see if any of these kind of ring true for you ladies. So it could be an over-dependency on technology and distractions. Like the social media scroll. Something comes up, you're meaning to do something, it feels just too hard, and you're like, it's that frustration almost, isn't it? Where you're like, I'm just going to bury myself in mindless scrolling. Yeah. And that's going to make me feel better.
How crazy has that become something that is as a tool in a way for our mind just to go, well, you know, just scrolling. It's just insane. It's crazy that, imagine like telling people in 50 years ago or 60, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, 100 years ago, being like, we're going to be sitting on these little technical things and staring at them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, go outside, go into nature.
Yeah, it's definitely a force and an issue that we have in our society at the moment in terms of social media addiction and scrolling addiction, because any of you ladies that have seen some of the work we've done around mindfulness and the neuroplasticity talks that we've done, as our brain likes diversion, it likes distraction, and the more we do that, the more we change the neural pathways in our brain to constantly crave that. And when we're doing that, that's a path to a life that's not happy, because a wandering mind is an unhappy mind, and it's the opposite of mindfulness. So that is one of the key classic ways in which we sabotage ourselves, especially in this modern era. You're right, Frankie. I mean, imagine my mum's 90 now. Yeah, she's 90 now. She just doesn't understand it. I always get the calls, can you help me out with my iPhone? And she's on Facebook now. And don't ask me. I'm no better. I'm no better with Facebook.
Let me just get Frankie.
Frankie, I've got a technical question. The next one is what I call the Magpie Effect. Magpies, and they go around and they swoop around and they see things that are sparkly and shiny. So I call it shiny object syndrome. So, say in the context of work, and you've got this big project, or perhaps you're a business owner, you've got this big project and you know the other side of that is success and you know it will be amazing once you've finished it, yet you distract yourself again with all different things. Maybe instead of starting this project, which you know you should do in the morning because that's when your brain's firing really well, you answer really easy admin emails. Or maybe you file your nails, or you go and do something, or you hop on social media, whatever it is, you're just distracted by all these different shiny things, which again are easy. Or perhaps you're procrastinating towards a big goal. Procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. Many people won't know that, but procrastination is one of the biggest, especially in the workplace. Oh, I might just put that in the too hard basket, or I'm going to do that one day, or I'm going to start on that diet and on that exercise program on Monday, or not this Monday though, or which Monday, I'm not sure, one day I'm going to though.
Yeah.
So it just ends up that you never ever start that goal in the first place. Oh, thanks. It's trying to disappear again.
No, it's just because your hair is rubbing.
Funny, these microphones, aren't they? We need to get those really cool podcast ones, when they... Yeah,
sorry,
but not the phallic-looking ones. The round ones, the one with the screen and then you could talk into it. We were watching one the other day and it looked really, really strange. Anyway, where was I?
Sorry.
Back to it.
That's my fault.
Or letting your past dictate your future. So much that so many times, so many conversations I've had, so many guests that we've spoken with, so many friends, so many clients, so many people we've been coaching have all said the same thing, which is, I can't do that because this has happened in my past. It's almost like we assume an identity of things that have happened to us previously in terms of that predicting our future. That's not the case. We're constantly changing. Neuroplasticity, 10 years ago, only 10 years ago, scientists proved that our brains are plastic. Unlike what we always thought, that they're set and our personalities are fixed when we get to a certain age, they've shown that that's no longer the case 10 years ago. So if you think about that, we're all beautiful works in progress. We can create whatever we want to create, whatever beliefs, whatever personality, whatever we want to let go of. It's all open and possible to us. So therefore, does that make sense? Something happened in my past. I was left. Someone broke up with me. I had my heart broken. Does that mean that that's going to happen again? Does that mean that's what I'm worthy of? Does that dictate the future relationships I have? Doesn't make sense, does it? So if so, why do we allow that fear to linger, and why do we assume this identity of someone that's always going to have that happening to them? And guess what? It's very normal. Happened to me for most of my 30s, and I'm sure it's happened to many of you too. But the thing is, again, think about it. We're not a victim of our past. We're, a work in progress towards our beautiful future, and we can create any picture that we like. Another one is being all or nothing about goals. So we were talking about before, not setting realistic goals. I'm going to climb Mount Everest, and I'm going to, Is it? Well, that's a great goal to have.
No, Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, okay, that's
Me
a
and my
good
sister,
goal.
I want to do it for my 30th, and then my mum, who's 6. I'm not going to say how old my mum is.
Yeah.
My mum, because she's on here.
Is she? Hi, Frankie's mum.
She was like, "Oh, I'll come with you." And me and my sister were like, "No, you will not."
I like the sound of your mum. She sounds cool. Yeah, so that can be an example of it. You're setting yourself really lofty goals. Having a goal like that's incredible. I love that because that's so achievable. But it might be something like Everest, and then in the same year I'm going to canoe the Amazon, and I'm going to, do this and that and this. When we set ourselves too big a BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal, I'm all for that, the big, hairy, audacious goal, but don't have 10 of them.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you're a victim of self-sabotage again, because you're setting yourself up for failure. And what happens when we feel overwhelmed? What happens when we feel that we haven't achieved? We self-sabotage, don't we? We go, well, I'm not successful. Or you tell yourself something else, and whatever you tell yourself enough, you become. So then you stop going for the goals because you identify with someone that doesn't achieve them anyway, so why bother? That's an extreme, but can you see what I'm getting at in terms of setting yourself up for success? It's just another classic behaviour of doing it. Not asking for help when you need it is a classic one. Gosh, we're all guilty of that, aren't we? We're all guilty of that. You know, we like to think we can do it on our own, but we do know that we need help sometimes, and it prevents us from asking for help, and we're self-sabotaging ourselves in the process. I think this is a very common one for successful women that believe they have it all, and it's a sign of weakness if they ask for help. Picking arguments in your home life when things are going really, really well. You know, again, that fear of intimacy coming up, or I'm not used to everything being so melodic. I better just, you know, throw a stone in the water and cause a ripple here. We feel uncomfortable with a certain level of happiness or a certain level of closeness. Some of us do. And we'll talk about why that is soon. But that's another classic behaviour. Or feeling like you don't deserve something. How many times have you had something wonderful that's happened to you? Please say in the comments. I'd love to hear the answer to this question. But imagine you've had like some really great news, or you've won something, or a friend's given you a really beautiful comment about, you know, you looking radiant or looking great, or, you know, you've come across some good fortune, or you've done a great project and your boss has said, well done. How often when that happens does another thought come up, a contrary thought in your mind of going, well, don't get too comfortable there because, you know, you didn't really deserve that. You know,
something bad's going to happen now.
Something bad's going to happen.
Everything's so good right now. Like, it's going to have to change. You know, something bad will come along. Like, this won't last forever. Isn't it crazy? When things are really good, we immediately go to, but that means that something bad's going to happen. Yeah. Because we're so happy. Like, this person's going to cheat on me or something like that. And you already put it out there in the universe, and then you're expecting it. Yeah. And then you self-sabotage, because then you might be acting a certain way to that person, and then they do end up leaving you or doing something because you don't realize that you've become that, like, looking on the phone and everything, because you've already self-sabotaged. In your mind, that person's already broken up with you. Yeah, you've projected your fears onto someone else. And what happens when you project an identity onto someone? They'll assume it. Remember at school, you know, if you're always told you're naughty or talkative, what are you going to do? You're going to talk more and you're going to be naughtier. You know, it's just that reaction, action and reaction. Yeah. Did any of the ladies share? Not yet. We might not. They're a little bit behind us. Okay, cool. I'm beholden to technology. Mine was, I'm never going to drink again since I grasped one day at a time concept. It's been easy to stay sober. Oh, well done, Victoria. Yeah. You've had such an amazing journey, and I think it's so incredible, all of the self-development you've done around that. Yeah. Martha, hi Martha, how are you? So nice to see you. Martha came and stayed with us in Seminyak. Gosh, Martha, when was it? 10 years ago? Was it that long? Oh my gosh. COVID has really put a damper on my part of the world. Yeah, I can imagine. Where in the States are you, Martha? I can't remember where. I know you're in a big city. I'm healthy but can be complacent. I've been working from home since April. Today I went on a fabulous bike ride and feel wonderfully tired. How beautiful. But wow, almost talked myself out of it. Isn't that interesting? I love Mel, I remember her name, Mel Robbins, and she talks so much around being able to trick your mind within those first 5 seconds of doing something. If you actually, you know, do something by counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they use it with the Navy SEALs, you'll go and do it. You'll be able to trick the wiring in your prefrontal cortex to actually motivate yourself to go and do it. But if you sit with it for a while, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. Oh, look, there's Netflix. Oh, look, there's, you know, my friend's called. Oh, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. It just won't happen. But if you use that 5-second trick, it really can. And when do you ever regret going and getting outside in nature? No, I love it. I love going outside. Yeah, it's beautiful. Lots of the ladies know on the class pass that I will take any opportunity to be outside. Lucy as well. We love to do our exercise, our yoga, our everything outdoors, because it just brings in an element of just peace and calm as well. Yeah. Lucy does it for heat. Yeah, Lucy likes doing it for heat. Whereas I like put all the umbrellas up. Yeah, exactly. I still like being outside. Oh, Martha, it was 2012. Wow. Goodness me. 8 years ago in Philadelphia. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I can imagine it must be quite prolific over there with all of the media as well. So good on you for getting outside and going and doing something about it, because all we can do is control what we can control.
And one of the best things we can do is try and monitor our environment as much as possible. But I'll come on to talk about that in my next workshop when we talk about our ikigai after this one. Abigail, I'm focusing on changing my self-talk. Yeah, absolutely. It's really great. That's where it all starts from, what we say to ourselves, catching that inner critic at the time and replacing it with a positive behaviour. But we'll be discussing that shortly. I'm just keeping an eye on time because you know how Frankie and I love to chat. Good. And we're only a bit of the way through. All right, so are any of these behaviours familiar? I really want to get up at 5 a.m. and exercise, but I have a goal, because I have a goal of supreme health. But oh no, I stayed up late watching Netflix and I slept in and now I feel guilty. Or I'm so grateful to get healthy, to eat healthy this week because my goal is to lose 5 kilograms by Christmas. But I didn't have enough time to make lunch and I stopped at the garage of the service station on my way to my corporate job, and so I just grabbed a pie and a cookie and a soda drink, and now I've fallen off the wagon. I'm just going to eat, terrible stuff tonight too because I feel so icky. Or I'm totally going to have an argument-free week with my husband, but oh no, he said something I don't like, so I snapped at him and now I feel really bad. So those are kind of, just some examples that some of you may be able to relate to, and you'll have your own too. So why does it happen? Why does self-sabotage happen to us? It gets in the way of change and when we're wanting to make a change, because self-sabotage actually comes from a deep-seated fear of changing. We love short-term pleasure, so we seek out short-term pleasure. Those of you that heard me talk about, Tony Robbins' work, which I love, we do whatever we can in life to avoid pain. We'll run as far away from pain as we can and run towards pleasure. So we're always looking for that short-term payoff. We might have a long-term goal, but if there's a short-term gain somewhere, we're likely to take that because of the way that we are programmed. All of our brains are wired a specific way, classically, which is around being afraid of change, staying in our comfort zone. Our brains are designed to protect us. If you think back to the caveman days, we were always on alert in our, sympathetic nervous system when we were being chased by saber-toothed tigers. And so our brain overestimates risk and underplays newness in a bid to keep us safe. So if you think about that kind of programming and loop that we've got playing on and on our brain, that's why it feels uncomfortable. Oh, I have to do public speaking. Oh my gosh, I have to go and start a new job somewhere. I feel terrified about that. Or I'm going on my first date in a long time of being single. Whatever it is, whatever that new chapter you're about to step into, it's so natural, we all feel it, where you've got this fear that comes up, the anxiety, your sympathetic nervous system, the cortisol is firing through your body, your extremities are, warm because you're ready to escape that saber-toothed tiger. It's a physical, a chemical reaction that happens within us. It's just part of our normal programming. So you have to fight against it. But if you understand it, you can say to yourself, okay, that's what I'm experiencing. I'm just going to work through that. I'm going to take some breaths. I'm going to use some of the tools I know, and I'm going to get past that. And you know what? I'm still going to do it. I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that quote. I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway because I know when I do, there's payoff on the other side. And I've got a long-term goal in mind, and I am going for that. So it's just, and the reason it might sound a bit scientific, all this neuroplasticity stuff, but I just want to illustrate the picture of why we do it so you know when it comes up that that's all you're experiencing. Hey, it goes. You get past it, it goes. You breathe through it. You do a number of things that we'll talk about. And you get to the other side. But you will feel uncomfortable at the start whenever we're doing a new, creating a new habit. It's like, say, you're training for a marathon. Getting up each morning before work and going running, it's not pleasurable at the start. Maybe for some people it is. I don't know people like that really enjoy it at the start. But for some people it is. But it just, requires effort. And then after a while, we know 21 days and a new habit's formed. Then it becomes easy. Then it's almost you're on autopilot, just like brushing our teeth used to be. Used to be really weird. Try doing it in the left hand if you're right-handed, or vice versa. Until something becomes habitual because we've committed to doing it enough times, it becomes awkward and uncomfortable. You'll get past that point. So that's just the first thing that I really want you ladies to bear in mind. Have you tried anything recently which has been for the first time where you've experienced that? Please comment in the questions below, and also share what you did to get through that uncomfortableness, because I think it's great with all the different examples to be able to share that with others that can probably relate to that too. So what happens when we are doing something new is and we're fighting against ourselves, often also comes down to this. Our brains aren't in alignment, our beliefs aren't in alignment with our goals. So we could have this goal, and I'll draw a really great diagram in a second, where it might be, I want to be in my best physical health possible this year. So that might be your goal. But you keep wondering, why can't I get up early and go to the gym? Why does this always happen? Why am I always falling off the wagon? And you dig into it deeper. And you go, okay, so what were the excuses? Because excuses give you an insight into what you're saying to yourself. So anything that comes up in the form of the excuse, like, oh, well, I wanted to, but, I ended up doing this instead. And you start inquiring into that more and more. Well, why did you sleep in? Oh, well, it was just sort of, I wanted to get more sleep. But why did you want to get more sleep? Well, I wanted to conserve my energy. Oh, interesting. Why did you want to conserve your energy? Well, I was sick a few years ago, and I was sick for a long time, and I needed to protect my health and my energy because I only have a small amount of energy, so I need to be really, really careful of that. Otherwise, I won't function well, and I'll feel down, and I won't be able to do my work properly. Interesting. Now we're getting to the good stuff. So you believe that you don't actually have enough energy to be able to do activity. Yeah, that's it. So you see what I mean? You start getting down to some of these core beliefs that it's actually driving your behavior to work towards that goal. So interesting work, but I'll show you a diagram on this in a second, because I want you ladies to start pulling out one of those goals that's really important to you and one of those areas of your life that you don't seem to be hitting, and start looking at the excuses that you're coming up with to see if your belief is in alignment with your goal, and playing around with that.
How interested I am at what you're saying. Oh, yeah. It all makes sense now as we can see ourselves, just so we can see the comments, and I'm just rewatching as Janine's talking. I'm like, whoa.
It's interesting stuff though, isn't it? When you just peel it back.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
And that example that I used, ladies, it just showing, being a little bit vulnerable here, but I was sick. Many of you know I had bacterial meningitis in between 2 pregnancies. So I went from being someone that had an identity of being extremely active, often go to the gym twice a day, I'd always be doing something, to being bedbound for a year as I recovered from this deadly disease. And then it wasn't until this year, many of you know my journey, that I started testing those boundaries, because I had this belief that I discovered that I had to preserve my energy. So I started testing the boundaries, and I ended up, in Janine style, doing my yoga teacher training and throwing myself in the deep end whilst I didn't know if I could do it or not. And I proved to myself that I could. And so that's when you start belief busting, which we'll come on to soon. But imagine when you really start digging into some of these beliefs that are holding you back, and you realize they're not true. That's what I'm so passionate about, going, but that's not true. It's not a fact. A belief is just something that we've told ourselves. It's an opinion we have of ourselves. Maybe we've got it from our parents, maybe we've got it from a caregiver, maybe we've got it from a well-meaning friend, maybe we've got it from an event, but we've assumed the identity of that event. So for me, I assumed the identity of meningitis, of being someone that was chronically ill for so long. So I assumed that identity. When I got better, I still wore that identity, and I didn't even realize that until earlier this year. Hooray for 2020, because 2020, I find, has just allowed us to shake everything up. That's why I love so many of us are looking at self-development and aren't afraid anymore to go there and to actually look within, because it's always uncomfortable when we do this work. But imagine what we discover when we master this. We master our life, we master our destiny, we master our fate, and everything changes. I'm so excited about this. I think I gave myself goosebumps. What are some of the questions that we've got to ask?
We've got a question. We'll actually have one thing that I really like from, is this Leanne? Is that how you say the name?
Lynn.
Lynn, sorry. I'm not very good at reading names, but Lynn, my favourite saying, look at yourself and see what is right instead of what is wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Focus on the positive, and that's the lens in which you see the world, right?
And then Shah has written, I self-sabotage by setting too many goals and then don't end up finishing any. Exercising, courses, painting lessons. You're doing painting with your mom, Shara. Come on. Learning I need to get focus on one-to-one. I think what the most beautiful thing you're going to do, Shara, is have that time with your mother. Shara's doing a wonderful thing with her mum. They're going to do painting together.
Oh, beautiful.
Because her mum loves to paint and Shara wants to learn. So I think it's just so special. It's such a beautiful thing. We had a chat about it the other day.
And that's common, setting too many goals. Again, another reason for self-sabotage.
Yeah, exactly. So what you've done there is you've given yourself so many goals and then you're not able to do any of them. Because you kind of just get overwhelmed, and that's something I'm guilty of. I set myself so many goals and then I get overwhelmed and then I end up doing none of them, and then I'm like, oh, I can't do this. And then Nat,
that's awesome. How are you? Nice to see you on here, hun. I set a goal a long time ago to move back to Perth. Yay for you. 12 weeks ago I purchased a house there. That's fantastic. What a win for 2020. Renting it out till my daughter finishes uni. I can't wait to move, but also have the fear of changing jobs. So common, isn't it? It's the fear of the unknown. So again, if we think back to the way our brains are wired, it's saying, oh, danger, danger. But it's okay, you're going to get, on the other side of that when you realize there's nothing to fear and all these incredible things to gain from a new environment, a new city, and a brand new chapter for you. I look forward to hearing what comes next, Nat. It's so exciting.
We've gone over time a little.
Oh, we have. Okay, I'm just going to speed through this, ladies. That's okay because our ikigai's in a little bit further, yeah. So just as a summary, ladies, remember that, and I call it an identity and goal clash. So when we have an identity, I'll just see if I can draw a quick picture up here to show you, ladies. Can you just swivel that, huh?
I sure can.
Okay, cool. I always go over. So, excuse my drawing. I just wanted to show you what I mean by that. When you've got a belief or an identity, identity and goal clash. Because this is when self-sabotage happens, like I was saying. So our beliefs or the identity that we believe we have are defined by drives our habits or what we do. So who we believe we are leads to what we do. So and then that leads to us reaching our goals or an outcome, what we get. So you can see how that works. So if we have a belief, again, if I use that one of, say, being a marathon runner, I want to be able to run a marathon. It's my goal by 2021. Well, perhaps a belief that's holding me back. Why does it feel so hard to always get up in the morning and put on those running shoes? And I do it well for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I sabotage myself and think, another classic self-sabotage behaviour, I'll just give myself a little break because I've done so well. And then it's so hard to get back on that, good plan that you've been on. What happens if our belief, perhaps a belief there is, oh, I actually can't do it. I don't have the energy to run the marathon. I'm not as fast as other people. I'm just setting myself up for failure. It could be anything. Again, the way you find that out is looking at the excuses you give yourself when you don't go for that run. So you can discover that this belief or identity you have about yourself is clashing with your goal. So you're working against yourself. And yes, you might be doing the habits, but that will expire because you've got the sliding slope of willpower. You're having to draw on your limited reserves of willpower to do that. It's not coming from a belief. When something comes from a belief and identity, I'm a runner, I'm a marathon runner, I love doing this stuff. It's going to be amazing when I, ace this marathon. I'm going to feel incredible. And what other things is it going to lead me to? I'm going to have supreme energy. You know, when it's in line with a belief, of course you're naturally going to fuel that, you know, all the effort that it takes to become that marathon runner. But when it doesn't, you know, if I go back to the former belief, which is I don't have enough energy to do that, I'm setting myself up for failure, oh my gosh, it could be embarrassing if I come in last. All you're doing is you're working against yourself, digging into your willpower reserves that are limited, and when they get emptied, when you've, you know, used up all of your willpower reserves, you're going to sabotage your efforts. So does that make sense, ladies? Let me know in the comments below if that makes sense and if you'd like that framework, because we can put that in the attachments to this. Okay, let's just see. Not an easy, and it's lovely painting with my mum. Okay, great. So, ladies, let me try and wrap this up as much as I can. Another one of the reasons that we self-sabotage as well is called the familiarity heuristic. That just basically means, it sounds complicated, doesn't it? But what I said before, where the brain overvalues safety and security and undervalues change. So it magnifies risk completely and makes it seem so much greater than it actually is. Under stress, or when we've got a lack of sleep, it's why sleep's so important, it's even heightened. So we go back to the old, you know, and avoid the new, because that feels comfortable and safe when we're tired or under the weather, feeling stressed. Let me just skip through some of these. So we spoke about self-sabotage happening because a belief and goal clash, just like in that diagram there, and also because of the familiarity heuristic, clinging to the comfort zone, the old and the familiar. It also comes from FOMO, fear of missing out. So we're social creatures, you know. It's like, say, for example, you're saving for a holiday and you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to trade in the Friday night in London drinking with my mates. And you're like, but then one asked me if I wanted to go, and, you know, I've been good for a couple of weeks, so then I go and I blow a couple of £100 going out to somewhere fancy for dinner and having some drinks. So that social pressure is massive when it comes to self-sabotage, as is dogma, you know, what we're supposed to do. Also feeling not enough or a lack, so that often can cause self-sabotage, so we're setting ourselves up for failure. A fear of intimacy. We spoke before about that relationship example. I think this is so common for so many of us. I had my heart broken for the first time when I was 31, and it was so painful that after that, the relationships I had through my 30s, lovely people, but I knew I wasn't going to enter into long-term relationships with them. And it wasn't until I did some self-belief work that I met, you know, my soulmate, the man in my dreams. It took me that long to do it because I didn't want to lean into those feelings of assuming that I did of someone that had their heart broken, and so worried that it would happen again because it hurt. And we don't lean into things that hurt, so we just gloss over them and wonder why the same pattern keeps repeating itself again and again and again and again. Addictive behaviour. So addictive behaviour is a tricky one as well, because again, if we think back to neuroscience, we've got this neural hardware that's installed in our brain. You know, our habits become entrenched, and then it's difficult to break free of those. Victoria would be able to talk about that very easily. She's done that. She's incredible how she's overcome alcohol and, you know, gone on to do incredible things with her life through doing that, but it wasn't an easy mission. Also lack of sleep, as we mentioned before, and procrastination, so putting off doing something. We self-sabotage before we've even started, right, when we procrastinate.
So to change self-sabotage, or to release and let go of self-sabotage, we have to change our beliefs, really. Yeah,
absolutely. And a belief is just something that we've thought. I think that's one of the most important things to say, is it's just an opinion we have on ourselves. It's not actually true. And I think that's so important, that we need to start looking at our beliefs when we do the example and say, well, is that belief actually true? Just like I discovered with my beliefs that they weren't true. When you understand that, it's like the penny drops.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
It's powerful looking into that. So as I said before, we may have had an identity that a parent gave us or a teacher gave us or a caregiver of, you are this, you are naughty, you are too loud, you are too much. Remember, so many women, I love that thing that went around the internet about the too much woman. You're too much. You need to tone it down. Don't talk about all the great things you've done. Underplay yourself, hide your light. You know, so many things, and we just assume those as being gospel and that we are like that and that we need to modify our behaviour. And so then we become adults and we have to unlearn and just shed all of these. I know, it's a lifelong thing, isn't it? And that's why I love these sorts of tools, because they enable us to do it at more of a rapid pace, which is great. So it may have been as a result of trauma or injury or heartbreak, as I was mentioning before. We become the heartbreak, we become the sickness, and before we know it, we've altered the course of our life. We could have been heading here, and suddenly we're heading here, so off track, until one day we wake up and we go, how did I get so far away from who I used to be? And who did I used to be? Who was that girl? And so you have to do this, you know, reimagining again about what was it that you loved? What was it that lit you up? What were the rituals that you used to do? What were the beliefs that you used to have? And change those to get back to that place. And that's the beauty. We can all do that. I'll just skip through these, ladies, because it's running out of time. So basically, ladies, the parting things is, you know, we can change our beliefs, as we mentioned before. The great thing is the brain is so malleable. Scientists discovered this only a decade ago, as I mentioned before. We have the ability to change our habits, our thoughts, our wirings, how we look at life. So the question is, who do you want to become? You know, we don't have to assume that we have to stay the way we are. We can always reinvent ourselves and continue reinventing ourselves. If you think of us just as a, you know, living being, our skin's always renewing ourselves, our hair's always renewing ourselves, our nails are. So we should be too. We should be evolving as a person, as we grow, as we form new thoughts and actually steer that direction to the positive, so we're reaching our goals. You know, when I think back to when I left the corporate life to start up my own business, I had no background in it. I could have listened to dogma and not done it, and, you know, listened to those people that said it was crazy. But I had to set fire to my old identity so I could, you know, step into this new one. Because there's nothing worse than when you're sort of thinking about doing something but you don't commit to it fully. And that's where you have to change your beliefs around it. So what is that identity for you? Look at your goals. What is that? Is that a health and fitness guru? Is it a celebrated author? Is it an incredible warm mum? Is it a loving partner? You know, living life with your soulmate? Whatever it is, whatever you can imagine and dream, what does that look like? How do you build your identity around that? You know, what is that person tapping into? What does that person do in the day? What does she do with her day? What are her habits? What are her rituals? What are some of her healthy beliefs that allow her to do that? And look, if you can't imagine what those are, look at people that are doing that, study them, ask them. People that are successful are always willing to share information on what they do. And especially in this information age, there's so much information out there with people's blogs and people's podcasts, books, where you can really see what people's beliefs are, beliefs of people that you aspire to become or to be, role models that you really enjoy following. There's a little voice inside of you calling you to be like that too, if you find that you're particularly drawn to one person or another. So follow that and create that profile of who you want to become, and then start thinking about shifting your beliefs into that realm. So I realise there's been a lot of stuff in this workshop today. I hope I haven't overwhelmed.
All of these things. I'm trying to refine the comments.
I hope I haven't overwhelmed anyone. I realise I've gone at pace. We're doing a whole month of this in Inner Circle at the moment, and we do a little micro challenge every day because there's so much stuff in here. So I've tried to, rightly or wrongly, pack it all into a workshop with you today, or pack some of it in. This is just a loose kind of format of a presentation I did in one day for our Inner Circle ladies. But I just want to sort of summarise what we spoke about and talk about one of the most take one important goal. If there's anything I can leave you ladies with today, is that you can stop self-sabotage, but the most important thing is to shine the light on it, to lean into where it's happening, and to take one important goal and uncover your beliefs associated with it. So find those excuses. I was talking about, find those excuses. Look for those excuses, and that will lead you to what your belief is. And it's only until you have that you can work from it. Secondly, get clear on these beliefs. Are they facts or opinions? Most often you'll find they're opinions, so they're not true. And you can always sense check those with, well-meaning friends or family too, if you're undecided if that actually is a true statement about you or not. But I guarantee most of the time they're not facts. So they're just opinions you've told yourself so many times and you now believe them to be true. But what if they're not true and you're believing something that's not true about yourself and that's robbing you of your dreams? Don't let that happen. Then create alternative behaviour. So what you need to understand is at some point when we self-sabotage, we're getting some positive, reinforcement from doing that. Say, for example, when you're distracting yourself, from stress at work, you're going onto Facebook and that gives you some short-term relief. Find an alternative behaviour that still gives you that short-term relief. Say you want to start your own business but can't save as you love to shop, and that shopping gives you that instant dopamine hit, that gratification. Well, what else can give you that dopamine hit? We know exercise can. So perhaps you do exercise instead and you save your money so then you can start that business. Do you see what I mean? Find the alternative behaviour, but first understand what that limiting belief is, what that positive, impact is of that behaviour that you're getting, and then find an alternative that still gives you that, still fills that need for you. It might be, hey, at the end of the week I feel wrecked, I'm in a job I don't like, and so I have a few wines. We've all done that, I have a bottle of wine because, I just feel crap about myself and I just really didn't enjoy it and I feel so stressed and I feel lonely, I feel disconnected. Well, instead, and that wine's numbing your feelings, it's numbing your feelings. Instead, what about, being able to ring a friend on Fridays, because Fridays are bad for you, and being able to have, that company as an outlet for that loneliness. See, when you shine the light on something, you can start solving that problem. So shine the light on something, understand what your excuses are, shine the light on it, and find an alternative way to still get that positive hit that you're getting from self-sabotaging yourself. Then, as Frankie mentioned at the start, identify the triggers. All's great, we can theoreticize all of this stuff, right? And go, tick, I'm doing this, tick, I'm doing this. But what about a curveball comes in and you've had, an argument with your partner or with your ex, or you've lost a large sum of money, or you've just got no sleep and you're feeling like really upset about something because you're stuck in traffic and someone overtook you. And then you can throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So really understanding what are some of those triggers that can come up and what your default is when that happens. Then doing the identity creation work. So thinking about your goal and the type of person that would be able to assume that goal. The author, the health and fitness guru, the successful businesswoman, the loving mum, whatever that is, and start researching what kind of habits and rituals they do, and a bit more about the identity, the beliefs, the characteristics, the values of that person and what they embody. And then just build your resilience through self-belief tools, because one of the last factors that can, really take you off course, ladies, is emotions. We're emotional creatures. Stuff happens and we need to build up more than anything our resilience to life, because life will never stop throwing us curveballs. If this year's taught us anything, let it be this. We need to be able to lean into discomfort. We need to sharpen our resilient practices. 1 in 5 of us are highly sensitive people. Often the more creative you are, the more sensitive you are. So people like us, we need to sharpen our resilience tools even more. And so these practices like the yoga, the meditation, the breath work, the journaling, the mindfulness, things you might resist because I don't have enough time. Self-sabotage, right? I don't have enough time. You always have enough time for things like this when you make them a priority and you schedule them in, and they will bolster your resilience so you don't get thrown off track when things don't go your way or you're blindsided by something. and they'll help you navigate these tough periods and allow you to stay on track and keep committed to going for your goals, because you know that you can handle discomfort. You know you can handle anxiety and uncertainty and get through it, get through the other side. And then clarify your why. So clarify your reason for wanting to do something. Make it so dazzling. Build up so much of this beautiful picture of why you're going after this goal, that those little pesky excuses in your head that are kind of, tempting you to go off course, watch the Netflix, have the wine, come out with me instead of, going to bed at a good time, etc. You'll be like, my why is way too important to me. So colour that up as much as possible. I always do that when I'm starting new chapters or going after goals that are perhaps a little bit tricky, when I know there's going to be a lot of resistance. So it might be, I just wrote down a few examples for you, but I want to have supreme health, so I choose to get out of bed at 5 a.m. for the 5 a.m. club, because it gives me amazing energy and sets me up for a day ahead and makes me feel empowered, and I eat less as a result, and that means I have the confidence to be seen. I want to have a successful business, so I choose to always tackle the big things first. I don't go for the easy option. I always go for the hard option, because I know that will give me the gains to be really successful in my business to grow. And that means that I'll have more time to have, this luxury of time with my family, because actually that's what matters most to me, to have time with my family. Or I want to have a loving relationship, so I choose to put myself out there and go on dates and put myself on Tinder and Bumble, etc. Because I want to be seen, I want to get to know someone, and I know when I do, I will meet my soulmate and my whole life will change as I share my beautiful existence with someone else and create the life of my dreams. So you can see how you can just really dial it up and make it really, really colourful and beautiful. So yeah, that kind of wraps things up, ladies. As I said, success comes from an understanding of our minds and how they work. So remember how malleable your brain is. I can't emphasize enough how to lean in and uncover your limiting beliefs will really change your life. You'll be able to get those 2021 goals with super fast ease. And it's where all the growth begins. Without dissolving what's standing in your way, things will take longer. You'll feel like that little man with the boulder pushing it up the hill, and you'll continue on the self-sabotage cycle, and we don't want that. So change the course of our lives. Imagine operating from a place of wonder, curiosity, and self-love without those shackles of fears and limiting beliefs. Where your dreams come to you with ease. We still have to work for them, but we aren't working against ourselves, and that's the whole point. So ladies, let me know if you've got any questions. I almost ran out of steam myself then. It's a long time to talk, and I've got another workshop now. So I think maybe what we could do with this, do it later.
I'll do it. So for the breath work and meditation, we'll do a breath work, a nice and easy, simple breath work to get us all going within the self. And then, because this is such a great topic and such a juicy topic and something that everybody is so interested in, I mean, we've had up to 30 of you guys all tuning into this, and I know that there's many more probably across the globe that are sleeping right now who also want to do this. So I'll do the self-sabotage meditation this afternoon for us at 2 p.m. Bali time. I've shared a link called the time converter, so you can all see what time 2 p.m. is for you where you are in the world, so make it super easy. You just put in your time and you can find out.
It's a great
idea. On in the fourth workshop of the day, we'll be doing the self-sabotage meditation, because I think everyone needs a break.
Yes,
a cup of tea. And
ladies, I forgot to mention, if anyone's interested in getting the handouts, let us know in the comments below. We're doing it in the inner circle this month. So if you'd like to come and join us in the inner circle this month, you're welcome to do so. We've got a special offer on that. Just send us a private message, because then we can contact you via Facebook. So just send a message in Facebook or comment inner circle below, and we can share that with you and allow you to join us for the month. We've got a 21-day challenge starting, where we just go through micro steps on working with a lot of that content to really unravel self-sabotage, so you can meet your dreams with ease and finish this year on a high. Anyway, ladies, I need to get my voice, I need to do a salt gargle. So are you trying to signal to Lucy?
Like, can you
But ladies, let us know below how that was. Please let us know if you've got any questions. I'm going to go now, but I can answer them after as well for you. So lovely being here with you ladies this morning. Bye for now.